Hey, what's up, y'all? What's going on? Welcome to February 9th, Monday's virtual employment support group. If you're tuning in, I appreciate you. Today, we are going to discuss career planning and self assessment. My name is Dashaan Jennings. I'm the founder of Straight Up Employment Services. We are a New Jersey based nonprofit that believes in bridging the gap between access and opportunities for those that are in need of employment. Let me move up to my mic a little bit. That should be good. All right, so today we're going to discuss career planning and assessment and self-assessment. I'm sorry, excuse me. And really zone in on how to take control of your career path. Really thinking of some tools and discussing some tools that aligns with creating a career path, and as well as not only creating it but controlling your narrative and ensuring that you're going to the right direction towards your career path. Um so I'm gonna share my screen. um Make it a little bigger so everyone can see it. My name is Deshaun Jennings. I'm the founder of Straight Up Employment Services. Today I will be facilitating this discussion on career planning and self-assessment. Really just thinking about how to take control of your career path, how to, you know, really look at you, more of that discussion, you know. So how can we use this, right? How can we use this training? How is this for this workshop relevant for you, right? Um step step one, I would say be honest with yourself, right? When you are in this discussion, are you in this space? I want you to start really thinking along the lines of honesty and transparency when it comes to where you are at in relation to gaining employment. Step two, you should follow each activity that I will be presenting. There will be some activities that will be presented that kind of covers self-assessment and getting you to think about who you are as it relates to self-assessment. Step three, write down your answers, right? I want you to write down your answers. Really write down everything. Ask questions. Let's make this an interactive, workshop. If you are viewing on YouTube, please leave a comment and leave a comment. Let me know some ways that you self-assess and some ways that you career plan. So, step one in career planning, we must understand what that is, right? I think that before we go into the weeds of things, we must understand what career planning actually is. Career planning really means getting a good sense of who you are, um, what fits you, what's your values, as we discussed in last week's webinar, your values, your mindset, right? Choosing what works that fits you, right? Is it very important? What job fits you, and not you fitting the job. So that's very important that you think about where does those values that we discuss, where does those strengths, where those that mindset, where does that fit, when it comes to a workshop, right? Or choosing work or a job. Make a plan to reach your goals, right? It's important that career planning, it really aligns with your goals and what you have, worked on thus far with your straight up employment job developers in relation to figuring out goals and making a plan to obtain them. Step two, you want to complete a self-assessment, right? Self-assessment really helps you to identify some strengths, understand your interests, and recognize challenges. Um, as you start to identify who you are and really start zoning in on really what you're interested in, because you may have a sense of it, right? I think that everyone have a sense of who they are, but once you put that idea on paper, it becomes actually actual reality, something more practical. So actually identifying and being able to write down your strengths, write down your interests, write down your challenges are just steps or major steps when it comes to self-assessment, assessing who you are. And as you may know, right? Just having a good sense of who you are, it builds that level of confidence that can present out to the workspace, that can present out to an interview, that can present out to society to show who you are and how you stand out. So, in order to assess your skills, you must list your technical skills. Um, you must understand that there's a difference between hard skills, soft skills, and transferable skills. Your hard skills is your job, the skills that you can obtain from training from a job that is more technical and aligns with a certain role or a certain organization. Your soft skills of is how you do it, right? Your communication, your teamwork. That is, what you kind of centered around your values and what you can bring to the table. Your transferable skills is skills used in many jobs, and that can be communication, that can be a great team player, right? That can be skills such as being able to use Excel a certain way, or Microsoft Office programs, or being able to operate a forklift a certain way. Those type of skills are really those skills that's really transferable to the way when it comes to finding employment. So think about that. Assess your skills in three ways: your hard skills, soft skills, and transferable skills. So when you ask, what do I enjoy doing, right? Ask yourself, what are some things you enjoy doing? What are some things you're good at? What kind of work environment do I prefer, right? Me per se, I enjoy, boxing. I enjoy why? Because I enjoy the training that comes with it. I enjoy um, you know, being pushed to the limit where you didn't know you can go. I like that, right? I enjoy thrills, right? I enjoy, roller coasters, stuff like that. So what am I good at, right? What am I good at, right? When it comes to jobs, I may be good at reading people, right? I may be good at um seeing things before they come, forecasting. I may be good at um, sending great lines of communication directly to the source. um, what kind of a work environment do I prefer? I prefer a work environment where it's just myself, right? Where it's really not too much team, but I love my team. I love at my workspace. I would rather my workspace be single, right? With me by myself to collaborate and think of ideas, and then there'd be other section with my team that I can go collaborate on. I would rather a work environment like that. That's just me. What about you? So identify your interests. What kind of a work environments do you prefer, right? Put some in the comments. So identifying values. When you identifying values, you should decide what matters most to you. As we discussed in our first week session of February 2026, we discussed values, career mindset. Um, decide what matters most, right, to you. And these really center your values. A certain income, right? If you don't want to make under a certain amount, right? That's your value, right? Who you that's the price. A schedule flexibility. Being flexible with your schedule is something that we don't value too much, but employers do. And that schedule flexibility, understanding that you're not available all the time, that's value in that. Job stability. Being able to want a job that ensures that there's stability there, that you cannot just um, you know one day I'm here and then the next day I'm gone. Those type of jobs. You want a job that ensures sustainability, right? Ensures levels of investment, whether that's 401ks, whether that's retirement plans. Usually job careers that have those type of investments are usually more thoughtful before um terminating employees. Helping others is something that you want. If that's your value, then that's what you want to do in your workspace, right? You would rather help others, so you must think of roles that aligns like that. Um, so those are your values, right? Growth opportunities. Looking at growth opportunities. How do you want to grow? Where do you see yourself? That's really identifying how you identify your values. And as we identify values, we must be able to identify what keeps us from obtaining certain levels of success. And one thing that we must be practical on is our barriers, right? What prevents us from getting to and from work? Is it childcare? Is it housing? Is it lack of employable documents? Is it um, lack of work experience? So you got to think of that too. Write a list of that down, right? Because just as if you are able to recognize your the opportunities to improve, then you will improve, right? And you will become more holistic once you're able to improve on those barriers. So and supports, right? There may be you got to write down who are your supports. Is it your family? Is it straight up employment staff? We are usually like to categorize ourselves as support for our clients, and as well as anyone who comes into our program looking for employment. We do more than just seeking employment. We do mentorship programs. What programs are supportive of you? What organizations in the community that you can lean on for that support? Understanding your barriers, support your values, your interests, your skills, all aligns to building a realistic plan, right? You want to be able to build a realistic plan that centers on improvement moving forward, not backward mobility, right? So you want to understand that understanding your barriers and supports will put things in front of you so they are not a surprise. All right. So when we discuss every webinar, I would like to discuss exploring careers, as exploring careers is very important. And learning how to is even more important because you want to be able to use what you just picked up, your values, right? Yourself assessing your hard skills, soft skills, transferable skills, looking at as well as looking at other components such as your barriers and supports, your interests, right? Um, to kind of build a picture on where to research your career, right? Once you know at this point, you can pretty much have a good picture on what you're good at and what role that you are thriving, and you can start researching job options and career opportunities. So I want you to look at that, right? You must research your job options, right? Not only should you go on looking for a job, but you should look into the company. That's very important because you should see if they align with those values, if your skill sets will actually thrive there. You can find that out from conversations. Don't be afraid to call in and speak with a hiring manager and ask about their work culture, right? Decide short term and long term goals. You should pretty much be mapping out that realistic plan that we discussed through short term smart goals and short term objectives and long term goals. You should be looking at every step every day as a way to a building block to get to the next goal. And so work with your straight up employment staff to design your short term and long term goals. I know that there's weekly follow up that discuss short terms and long term goals in relation to employment barriers as well as education. In addition, you should learn required skills or education, right? Sitting here listening to this webinar is actually um, can help you with that, right? It can help you with learning those new required skills and educating yourself on what to think about when it comes to even getting a career opportunity. So you are somewhat in advance when it comes to alignment. All right. So here's a resource I want to show people to see. I can walk you through. I'm actually so if you I'm actually not gonna walk you through this. If you There's a resource online, DOL, if you are interested in taking a self-assessment, I can send you a resource from the Department of Labor that is a pretty good self-assessment that gives you a clear idea on who you are and how you can navigate job search and your job hunt, and ensuring that your values, your skill set, as well as your barriers and supports are aligning with roles that fits that is more realistic. Right. So, and final, in closing, your next step is to reach out to me. I will, if this is online, I will put the link for the self-assessment in the description, and I will suggest that you all complete the self-assessment activity. All of my clients is usually something you have to do, as we have to do something with those results. Um, Work with your job developer to set one short-term goal that can be accomplished within 30 to 90 days. That may be just going on an interview in 30, obtaining employment in 60, and working on a job for 30 days for 90. Meet with straight up employment staff, right? Schedule an appointment. Use that Calendly link that I send often. If you are a new client that's interested in employment and you're seeing this video on a social media platform, please feel free to go to www.straightupemployment.org. On our homepage, you can click the referral form, and from there, you will be able to complete a referral form by providing your information, and someone will reach out to you within 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, depending on the volume of referrals. And also track your progress. I see a lot of, it's very easy for people to go on Indeed and apply to jobs at a click of a button. But however, that accessibility and that easy that feeling of easy, there's a trade-off. The trade-off is that you are not able to track what you are applying to. So you may be able to on your Indeed accounts, and if you need assistance with seeing what was the last jobs you applied to, please reach out. I say that to say this, that information is vital when it comes to our job developers advocating on behalf of our clients. So please, if you are applying on Indeed, track your progress. If you're applying online, track your progress. That is very important. And we will look into meeting with you. Thank you for the career plan, for tuning in to career plan and self-assessment, our Monday evenings virtual webinar, virtual employment support group. It is always a pleasure of mine to kind of provide this type of information to community members and to ensure that they are able to navigate this rigorous job market. All right. Thank you all, and please have a great week.